Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 241st episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy legends over at Audio Technica. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan 8-Bit. And joining me today, the midnight black to my cosmic red, my podcast Ride or Die. Find her on them socials at Miss Ali Hart. Miss Ali Hart, how you doing today?
Howdy do. It's another wonderful day in the world.
It is indeed.
May your coffee be strong, because Lord knows I need my third.
God, I had a sort of a quick brain fart where I'm like, 3 already and it's only like 9 in the morning. I'm like, that's right. No, it's ticking on probably 4 p.m.-ish, 5 p.m.-ish over your way soon enough.
Yeah, I've had to kind of regulate my caffeine and be cautious on where I'm getting my intake from, because I'm really like I think I've mentioned earlier, like a few episodes ago, where I was really just going straight to the hard stuff of pre-workout.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
I'm like, it's a dangerous one. If you see me snorting pre-workout, then we've hit a new low.
Yeah, we'll certainly get an intervention going if that's the case.
I appreciate it.
As far as coffee intake, do you sort of have like a hard and fast rule where you're like, I'm not having any more after 3 or 4 or whatever, you've got to cut?
Doesn't do anything for me. I could literally have a coffee at 7 o'clock and still fall asleep at like 8.
Yeah, I'm the same. But what about as well, like as far as coffee quantity throughout the day? Like, do you sort of say you set yourself a limit of having 2 or 3 max, or just depend on how you're feeling? Maybe you crave one a bit later and it could be your 4th or your 5th. Who knows?
I think 3 is fair, but that's also under the assumption, like if I go to the gym, then I usually have to cut out the 3rd one because I would be having pre-workout regardless. So, but yeah, like coffee unfortunately doesn't give me the same kind of kick as like other caffeine. So I don't know if I've built up some kind of immunity to it or whatever, or I don't know. But straight shots too, so it's not like it's all milk.
Yeah, I can't do milky coffee. Like outside of an iced coffee, I know we've sort of talked about this sporadically over the last 12 months or so, but yeah, milky coffee outside of an iced, I can't do it. I had sort of a flat white the other day, just because, and I'm like, oh, this is like, it was fine, and the coffee still tasted nice, but it just didn't sit with me the way it does now, where I'm just on like a long black.
I've got to say, the other day, and it's not the best ad to want it, but I saw like an ad for like a cappuccino from McDonald's of all places. But like my brain just went, remember cappuccinos? And I was like, oh yeah, they're good. Like, and I was really craving like a cappuccino, but I don't think I've had a good one here in America.
Yeah, good coffee can be difficult to find over on in your neck of the woods. Like there is some good places, don't get me wrong, but the mainstreamers, like it's like, It's not Aussie coffee, or it's not global coffee. It's American coffee.
That's what I should have done. I should have like become a barista.
Yep.
In Australia and learnt the ways of how to make a coffee over there and bring it over here, so Americans can actually know what good coffee tastes like.
But now I'm thinking about it, getting a cappuccino and just eating that yummy foam, the yummy froth on the top.
With a little bit of chocolate.
Oh my God, it's so yummy. Yeah. I remember being a kid and getting the baby chinos, at the cafes with your mum and dad or whatever. Little cup of froth. Good times.
Yeah.
But coffee's great. Video games is great. The world is pretty great for the most part, depending on where you are, obviously. But I haven't been sort of playing a whole lot this week. Like, sort of been pushing through on my hardcore playthrough on Resident Evil Village. For anyone listening to us right now, the spoiler cast that I did with Ryan Betson is available on the same feed. So if you haven't listened to that yet, be sure to go chuck that in your ear holes when you can. Really, really great game. Really loving it. I think it's going to go down as one of my favorite games for this year when it's all said and done. Been playing a little bit more Apex. Loving that as well. Loving Valkyrie. She's become my new main pretty quickly in the old Apex Legends. The verticality and the rocket salvos and all that. It's just right in my wheelhouse. And she's got some really funny quips talking about, how hungry she is and, flirtiness and cheekiness. And she's a cool character. I'm a big fan of what they've done with her. Then I've just been watching stuff. So, I binged the 2 seasons of Snowpiercer on Netflix this week.
Oh, I need to see the movie.
The movie's great. The movie's really good.
I know everyone says it's amazing. I'm like, I've got to really sit down and I need a list.
Yeah, you do.
I'm gonna create a list.
You need a lot of ink because it's going to be a long list to write down.
Really? Yes.
But binge the 2 seasons on Netflix that they have adapted from the movie, which was adapted from the book. Really, really good. Really enjoying the TV show or the streaming series on Netflix there. Started watching Love, Death and Robots season 2 last night as well.
Oh, yeah.
Halfway through that sort of second installment of that, and it's great. It's just really cool, different variations of animation and themes and concepts, and real funky science fiction-y stuff. Really cool. Like tonally, it nails it. There was a couple I've been really enjoying. A few that were sort of like ho-hum out of the 4 episodes I've seen so far, but 2 of them were really strong. So 50-50's all right. But outside of that, just been sort of watching this, that, the other. But what about you? Tell me the things. I see you've jumped back into bed with an old flame there.
Yeah, back to Destiny 2. That's right, listeners, your favorite. The season of the Splicer started on the Tuesday, I'd like to say. I did not start on Tuesday because Bungie had massive server issues and people had a lot of problems getting in, which is fine. That's okay. I'm, not too desperate to always to be a first day, player, so that's okay. So eventually got into it this week towards the end and really like it. We discussed the overall kind of aesthetic that they've incorporated with like a kind of synthwave meets Tron kind of style. And it's really pretty. It's very to my liking. And it's so far the gameplay as unique as gameplay can be for a Destiny game. I'm enjoying it thus far, story wise as well. So yes.
I'm looking forward to I'm gonna jump in and crack on with it a bit over the weekend because crossplay's still not officially active, but then I saw some tweets where I don't know if it was for every version of the game for people, but there was crossplay enabled on a few people's games.
Yes.
Which was kind of cool to see, but I think they've since pulled that out again.
Well, they were actually pretty good about it. When that a few people kind of brought it to their attention, they eventually did put out like a post and a tweet saying, hey, just letting you guys know that some people got access to the crossplay that shouldn't be available just yet, so we will fix it up, but in between that time, enjoy it.
That's great.
And I'm like, that's so cool. Like they're like, we're not going to rush to it, so we might as well just let people enjoy it. Hey, it's a good way to stress test, unless that's like kind of maybe what they were sneakishly doing,
they're like,
doubt it.
Oh no, it's accidentally on. Enjoy it, winky face, and they're doing some little mini stress tests. But like, I can't wait for the crossplay to be officially active, and then we can jump on, because I know you're sort of embedded on the PC with Destiny primarily. Benny, myself, and NATO, we're hanging out on the Xbox with the Game Pass Destiny 2 love, and we're just waiting to be able to connect that bridge and all go rumble together.
It'd be great. Like I love Destiny, but I definitely love Destiny more with friends. So I look forward to when that day happens.
Me too. But I think Benny and I are going to try and play some of this season of the Slicer over this weekend. So very much looking forward to cracking in. I downloaded, it was like a 7.5 gig update on the old Xbox that I got to run last night for this season of the Slicer content. So
Splicer.
Yeah.
Splicer.
Yeah.
Slicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, there is a typo in the document on my part. I apologize.
It's all good.
Just think of the Australian ice cream Splice.
Oh, Splices are yummy, by the way.
I used to like them, but I have this thing now wherever I eat ice blocks or ice-related, like paddle pops or whatever, and it cuts up my tongue.
Oh, really? Is it the stick or the ice cream that does that?
It's the ice, like the icicles.
Jesus Christ, you must be eating some really cold ice creams. I know they can get pretty icy in the back of the freezer.
Full guilt. Yeah, I definitely don't wait. Just like pull it out of the bag, or the packet. So,
God, ice creams are great.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, and you've been playing another little ditty on Apple Arcade as well. Tell me about this one, because I know nothing about it.
So, Taiko no Tatsujin it's Pop Tap Beat. The English I get wrong. Pop Tap Beat. It was a Switch. I was so focused on saying the other stuff right. It was originally on the Switch, and it's a drum, like a classic like Japanese arcade like drum beat to the rhythm kind of video game, and it was released on the Switch. They even had the like little drum kit that you could buy, so you could actually play along on like a little drum kit. And I was actually really keen on getting it, but I think when it came out there was like issues where the kit wasn't available straight away, and I think maybe the pricing was a bit off for me. I did try the demo though. Anyway, I was perusing Apple Arcade and there it was. I'm like, are you serious? So installed it at the start of the week, played it non-stop. My poor husband has had to hear like the theme song to Dragon Ball and One Piece and Neon Genesis. Like, this poor thing has been hearing the same. But that's my problem with the game. It's fun. I love rhythm games, but the selection is very, very few. And it's a shame because I would just love to keep like, you know, banging out on other tracks. So but it's cute, it's adorable. Anyone that followed me on Instagram got to see a little snippet of me playing. But yeah, me pitching the Apple Arcade, I'm still genuinely surprised sometimes with the quality content that I get to, you know, access via Apple Arcade. Like I said, it's like a one, you know, monthly subscription, and you have access to Apple Arcade, and then it's just like all these these different games on the what I would refer to as like, you know, console quality, with some of them console quality games on your phone. So
it is a great little service, and it's at a very respectable price. It's like what, $6 a month, I think, maybe Australian, or maybe a couple of dollars more. I don't
know how much. Yeah,
it's reasonable, but I think anyone that did have the Apple TV got some Apple Arcade access for free included in the first couple of months as well. So you can dip a toe and see if there's something in it for you. And with the controller support, you can play using your PlayStation controller through your Apple TV and stuff. So you could get these gaming experiences on your couch and not have to worry about playing on a phone or a tablet.
But that's the thing, right? It's like I can't be effed getting out of bed, and so I just either pull out my phone or pull out my tablet and my iPad and just play the games there. It's been great.
Just a bit of pop tap beat.
Yeah, a little pop tap beat. Words are hard.
Words are hard, and it's funny with words being hard when we're making a podcast which is made predominantly of words, but we make it work for the most part, I find. We speak good, we speak good. Bad. We speak good. Speaking of good things, obviously, bit of housekeeping. Ko-fi.com/we-are8bit if you wanted to get behind us and support us monetarily. That would be fantastic. $5 AUD a month gets you access to a ton of early content, exclusive podcasts, automatic entries into our monthly giveaways, as well as the hub to get swag that you cannot get anywhere else, such as our 8-bit Founders Coin. As we've mentioned, these are a single run print. So once these things are sold out, they're never going to get redone again. So get a piece of history. Get some of that 8-bit coin over at ko-fi.com/we-are8bit, or get immortalized in the 8-bit family portrait. Our 2021 edition obviously is Star Wars themed, so you can get yourself kitted out as whoever you want from that Star Wars universe, as long as they haven't already been selected first. So, get in while you can. Get yourself a customized avatar, as well as the overall group shot at the end of the year once that thing is properly closed off as well. But on the Ko-fi discussion, they are bringing out tiered-based subscriptions in the not too distant future. So there will be a little bit of a reshuffle as far as different levels to enter and support us if you choose to. So keep your eyes and ears peeled on that, and we'll tell you the second that does come out, just to give you a couple of options if you want to sort of throw some cash behind 8-Bit or the Hungry Gamers and what we're doing here. As we said, though, no pressure if you don't or you can't. Your listens and your social commentary is more than enough, but be sure to rate, review, subscribe us on all those podcast players. Predominantly Apple Podcasts if you can, because it helps keep the emotional lights on in our hearts. And last but certainly not least, our May giveaway is live, as we alluded to last week. Simply to get in on the action to be in the running, just write a review on Apple Podcasts, screenshot that review, email it to us, hello@8bit.net, DM us, we are 8bit on the socials, or drop it in onto one of us on Discord or wherever you're currently communicating to any one of ourselves or 8-Bit as a whole. Just grab us a screen grab of that review and send it through. And you can win yourself an Audio Technica Creator Pack Pro, an 8-Bit Founders Coin, as well as some additional 8-Bit swag. And for anyone that entered through our April giveaway and you weren't the winner, shout out again to Limo Tank for picking up that April win. Your entry will carry through as well. So you don't need to keep doing these repeat reviews and sending it through. It's going to carry through. So you just got to do it once, and then you're in the running until you potentially win, or maybe we shuffle up the ways to win competitions here. So yeah, easy done. But yeah, 8-Bit and Audio Technica giving away a ton of stuff there for May. And on the topic of Audio Technica, what do you think, Miss Hart? Do you think we should do a little old ad read?
Little rad read.
Little rad ad read. So listeners, whether you're a budding podcaster, streamer, YouTuber, or just an audiophile, Audio Technica has got you covered with the best range of audio equipment in the market today.
If you've listened to us at least once before, there's a strong chance you've heard us talk about our podcast origin story and the fact that Audio Technica have been with us from the very beginning. Our first mic we ever hungry gaming into was the AT2020, as well as you know, you never forget your first. Navigating the world of video games and pop culture with the leaders in audio-based equipment has been quite the journey. The news is not always positive, but our audio quality most certainly is. Audio Technica are your audio-based one-up.
Put a soundbite in there for future, I think. That would weave in nicely. But also weaving in nicely, we're giving away one of those Content Creator Pack Pros, which obviously includes an Audio Technica AT2020 USB Plus microphone, a set of ATH M20X headphones, and a handy boom arm to mount that sexy AT2020 USB Plus mic. It is the perfect kit to get you started on the road to audio-based greatness. But if content creating isn't your thing, fear not, as Audio Technica can upgrade your vinyl recording listening experience with a sexy range of turntables, improve your KD ratio via their market-leading wired or wireless gaming headsets, or just improve your general listening experience thanks to their wide range of headphones that come with all the latest bells and whistles. Bluetooth, noise cancelling, in-ear or over-ear, they've got it all. There's truly something for everybody over at audiotechnica.com or audiotechnica.com.au. Miss Hart, let's get into some news.
This week's news headlines.
All right, couple of quick hitters here. Target acquired rapid fire shots from around the industry this past week. The first one, Disney Plus has climbed past 103 million subscribers.
Got emotional there.
I did. It's good to see. You know, we all know that Disney needs more money. So
yes, that small company Disney.
The rich getting richer.
So that's concurrent, like active.
That's active
subscribers.
103 million active subs on the Disney Plus platform, and I only see that further growing as they buy and acquire more streaming services, and then embed all that into Disney Plus and build out that catalog even more.
Oh, yeah. Disney Plus is inclusive of other things as well. I keep forgetting that. Because what I was going to ask about it being active users or active subscribers is I know HBO definitely would see wonderful like rise and fall in subscriptions to their streaming services based on whatever show is that their hot show is streaming. A lot of people were always kind of admitting to the fact that they would subscribe or sign up at the start of a season of Game of Thrones, and then the second that was over, out it goes. But Disney's been really smart with how they've been releasing some of these like fantastic Marvel and Star Wars shows, and really not having that void where people don't have the content to like just each week. So when does Loki start?
I think it's the second week of June, thereabouts. It's
okay.
early to mid-ish June at the, like, let's say the first third of June, somewhere around there. So it's only a handful of weeks away. And as you said, I think they're very clever as far as having their release slate, making it hard for you to get out. Like, not saying that it's trapped and it's Stockholm Syndrome or anything like that, but it's like they're dropping regular new content at a frequency where it's like, yeah, I'm going to hang around, even if there is a couple of week lapse. Yeah, like going from Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Loki in the span of a month-ish. And then it was vice versa with WandaVision into Falcon and the Winter Soldier and stuff like that. They're just going, here's a block. You've got a couple of weeks to breathe and readjust and talk about how great an experience it was. And here's something else that's coming, and something else and something else. Obviously, like, you know, we've got Star Wars with the Bad Batch that's come out as well, which is running around getting some good press too. And it's just you're never going to leave. Never going to leave old Disney Plus. Once you're in, you're in.
We own you forever.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of own forever, Square Enix could potentially own most of us forever as far as their earning reports. So they've just announced their fiscal year earnings for 2020 and reported the highest revenues in company history. Obviously, their fiscal year ended on March 31st. Net sales were reported at $3 billion, which is up 27.6% year over year. The company noted that releases of Marvel's The Avengers and Final Fantasy VII Remake contributed to higher net sales for digital entertainment than last year. Net sales were up 40% year over year. So that's approximately $2.4 billion US dollars. So obviously this is the time in the industry where all these companies are sharing their earnings reports and having their board meetings and high-fiving each other, paying out chunky bonuses, and also then road mapping what's coming in the future. But it just seems like not only with the way COVID changed how we consume content and getting us more indoors, hence meaning more gaming for people, but also we had a couple of pretty big releases there, with Final Fantasy VII Remake and you know, Marvel's The Avengers, herky-jerky release, still on a little bit of minor life support. Like, the game ain't out of the woods yet. Like, they're still supporting this game and got this roadmap of content planned for 2021. But I worry, but at least I gave them that cash injection last year when the game came out, at least. So that's a positive, is it? Yeah.
I mean, like, Marvel's Avengers still has a very niche fan base that is still pretty excited for some of the content. I know only in the past few months, like, they kind of dropped a few new things, considering the gap where they had nothing. So Final Fantasy, though, I believe that one definitely boosted some sales because old fans came to it, new fans came to it, and it's won a bunch of awads.
It's stunning. So, it looks like I'm still, like, full disclosure, still yet to play it. I bought myself a copy. I'm part of these massive growth periods here that Square Enix have encountered in the past 12 months, but I will play it eventually, and it looks stunning. It's reviewed really well, and they're pretty smart / cheeky / clever as far as taking this full game from back in the PlayStation, the old 4-disc classic, and going, you know what, we're going to release this in chapters or sections or whatever you want to call it at a pretty high price. So they're going to be making more cash over the next couple of years as they roll this game out.
What's that new content that they're dropping where they've had the inclusion of...
Yeah, with Yuffie and...
That's it. Was that like free DLC, or is that also paid?
I think I'm just having a look now. So, okay. So yeah, with this, yeah. So they got Yuffie and in Intergrade, which is she gets her own DLC episode. But yeah, they've certainly got a deep roster to play with and work with as far as what they can bring in and who they can pull through and get money out of. It's, you can't fault them, and there's a hunger for it. So Yeah, so Intergrade coming out next month on June the 10th. We don't have to wait too long. And yeah, it's priced, it's $69.99 US dollars.
Ooh.
Yes. But that's like the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII, so it's going to have a nice extra coat of paint, and you get that new episode with Yuffie. I'm bastardizing your name. Cute Final Fantasy character
I think it's
girl.
Yuffie.
I think it is, yeah. Yep. So you get that base game, you get the PS5 upgrade, and then you get the Yuffie chapter in there as well to play through. But yeah, then we get some future content down the line, no doubt, with more characters coming in and at a hefty price. But anyway, we can't fault them for doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, Square Enix makes pretty decent content. I'm still going to say questionable on Marvel's Avengers, but hey, I'm a bit of a wet sock. So
a wet sock?
But yeah, wet sock. Have you ever put your foot in a wet sock?
I have. It's not good.
It's not good. So I know a lot of people probably hate my negative opinions of Marvel's Avengers. So,
Wet sock.
Wet sock.
That's great. But I think, like, on the Marvel front, before we jump onto this next little quick hit point, the just weird decisions from upper management. It's like, why? Like, let's release 2 new characters that are pretty much very similar and play, like, have the same types of traits and abilities and stuff with instead of jumping in and getting the hype going with the Spider-Man character coming in, or getting Black Panther in early after the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman to get him in, like, to get the character in there. But instead, it's like, no, we'll go to 2 ranged characters that like to use bow and arrows. We'll do them back to back. It's like, why? What are you doing?
They're both Hawkeye.
I know you love Hawkeye, but you know what I mean? Like, couldn't they staggered it a little bit anyway? Anyway, I haven't played this game in a long time, so I can't bitch and moan too much because, yeah, it's not in my rotation at the moment, which sucks because I played it pretty regularly when it came out.
Is this another one that accepts money?
Yeah, you can buy skins and emotes and things via way of their little eShop.
Yeah, that means people did.
Yes. I may or may not have bought a Black Widow emote once.
Well.
But in more positive. Well, I think it's positive news. I know you're on the fence about this potentially, but PlayStation 5 in the last 48 hours have announced 2 new DualSense controller options, unveiling the Midnight Black and Cosmic Red variants of their PS5 DualSense controller. So we polled this over on the IG, and the poll results went 65% to Cosmic Red and 35% to Midnight Black. I like the look of both of these, but you don't follow a similar tune to me on this, do you?
I think they look boring as shit. I don't know, with bringing out like new controllers, I thought, I don't know, I kind of expected maybe something a bit like unique in design, maybe some texture, maybe some kind of graphic or something, but they're very basic colors. Like, I guess if I had to choose one, I would choose black, because I really don't like this cosmic red that in my eyes looks like a deep dark like magenta. I think that it's the blue tinge that I can see that's also really throwing me off on both of these controllers. Like, I can just see the blue hue that's in there. So yeah, I'm happy with my white one. I think I'll stick to that.
I'm trading my white one in. My white stock, because you can trade it in over here and get one of these controls, I think, for $40 or something. Like, it's highway robbery because it's the same goddamn controller, just a different color. But like, I want one of these.
But it has a new hat.
Yeah. I'm getting Malibu Stacy, something fierce over here. But yeah, I like them both, to be completely honest. I think they both look nicer, at least for my aesthetic and my sort of vibe, compared to the white-black hybrid that you get with your base PS5. I still wish, and like, I know we see a lot of the art mock-ups and then the options to buy the blades and reskin your PlayStation 5 with, say, the black blades and stuff. Like, the all-black PlayStation 5s look like stunning. Like, they're gorgeous, and I'd say eventually we're going to get a variation release on that officially through Sony, where we will have a different colored PlayStation available. I don't know if they're going to go throwback and do like the old PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, like light grey color. Maybe they'll bring one out like that as a little retro homage. But I like these controls. I think they both look really nice. Even the Cosmic Red. I don't care if it's magenta. I'm in. I like it.
I just feel like when you're about to release your, like, I guess, next batch of controllers, releasing 2 of them and then one of them being basic black. Like, if they just said, like, hey, we're releasing the black version of the controller, then I'll be like, okay, cool, you know. But then they're like, oh, we've got, like, then they did, like, this whole, like, Galaxy kind of trailer thing, and they're like, you know, Midnight Black and Cosmic Red, and I was just like, what? Throw a purple in there if you're gonna, you know, do some like kind of Cosmic Galaxy kind of style. If they did a purple, I'd be very interested to see what that would have looked like. Maybe I would have had a change of tune. But yeah, just black's black, and like this red color just doesn't tickle me. So
that's fine. That's fine. You can continue to be a wet sock on these things.
The dryer must be broken, I swear.
I don't have a dryer anymore, and it breaks my heart. But anyway, this is not going to be the last time we're going to get different colored controllers. Like the Sonys, the Nintendos, the Microsofts. They do this every quarter or every, you know, at least every 6 months. They're bringing out some funky new, in air quotes, limited edition controller colors to get people hyped and get a nice little hardware cash injection. So maybe we'll get that purple DualSense later this year, or a blue, or greens or yellows. You know, they like running around and sticking with primary and secondary colors, that's for sure.
That's true. I mean, maybe we at 8-Bit can just write into PlayStation and just, you know, pitch out 8-Bit purple.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, here's something, and I think you'll like
Everyone
it.
Everyone loves purple. Anyone that doesn't,
Everyone does.
You're not our friends. I don't know why. I took such a strong stance over the shade of purple on controllers, but it's now immortalized forever. That's where I stand. It's where I'm planting my flag, and I'm dying on a hill over a purple-colored controller. But not really. I'll probably change that opinion, and yeah, I've controls many colors. But anyway, on to some more meatier news. So obviously, on the brand that we've had for this past week or so regarding full year earnings and things, we've got a little update that's come through from the folk over at Ubisoft. So part of their sort of call to go through their performance figures and how they did, there was some big things that was a bit of a takeaway. So outside of talking about how they're going to make more money, there was a bit of a shift as far as where their focus and their model for gaming will be moving forward. So on the back of this year, Ubisoft released some vague's maybe a bit of a too aggressive a word, some broader plans as far as making some of their investors potentially a little bit nervous, because this quote come directly from Frederic Duguer, the Ubisoft CFO. He said, "In line with the evolution of our high-quality lineup that is increasingly diverse, we are moving on from our prior comment regarding releasing 3 to 4 premium AAAs per year. Additionally, we are building our high-end free-to-play games to be trending towards AAA ambitions over the long term." Ubisoft has further clarified its commitment to big-budget games, however. In a new statement shared with Eurogamer, in it the publisher says it is not reducing its typical AAA output, instead saying, "Our intention is to deliver a diverse lineup of games that players will love across all platforms," Ubisoft spokesperson said. "We're excited to be investing more in free-to-play experiences. However, we want to clarify that this does not mean reducing our AAA offering. Our aim is to continue to deliver premium experiences to players such as Far Cry 6, Rainbow Six Quarantine, Riders Republic, and Skull and Bones, to name a few, while also expanding our free-to-play portfolio and strengthening our brands to reach even more players," end quote. So it seems old Frederic Duguer, Ubisoft CEO, maybe shot from the hip a little bit there in their earnings call, and sort of I don't know if he just phrased things incorrectly, because there was a lot of discourse on the socials where they're like, Ubisoft not doing AAA, they're going free-to-play microtransactions, rah, 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 fuck Ubisoft. You know, there was the pitchforks and the flaming torches out ready to go and march on the Ubisoft capital. But They've since pivoted and re-emphasized that, no, we're still doing AAAs. We're still going to take your money in full. But also, free-to-play is coming, so we're going to get you death by 1,000 cuts with microtransactions too. What do you think about this?
I mean, I always thought there was like just maybe a misunderstanding based on like maybe what the CFO thinks of AAA and what AAA means. The titles that you so politely gave your opinions on mid readout. Can't say I'm looking forward to them either.
It like on that front, it went top of the mountain, Far Cry 6, hell yeah, Giancarlo Esposito, give me some of that. And then it just went, it's like I got kicked off that mountain. I was just rolling and tumbling down. It's like Rainbow Six Quarantine or something. You're like, man, you set the bar high, then you stabbed me with that bar, and then you beat me with that bar, then you pissed on me.
Damn.
With that bar.
Yeah, okay. But I think the main thing when it comes to Ubisoft is people just wanting, like, you know how Ubisoft is like, there's always a game, they're always launching, there's always going to be a Assassin's Creed, and like I guess like just other little titles like
well, you're gonna get like the Division and stuff like that. You're gonna get these games every other year that are cyclical and seasonal. They
are finding themselves with some kind of like issues though with the AAAs that they release. Like unfortunately, Watch Dogs 2, that kind of fizzled, right? Like it fizzled.
Yeah, and then like Legion was good. I enjoyed my time with it. Like Immortals Phoenix Rising's a nice, I guess, success story for them. A lot of people seem to be digging that, but. Yeah, Legion was a bit ho-hum. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I adored, you get people like going, oh, it's too big a game. It's like, you can't win. Like, you see the people like, give me 8 to 10 hour experiences instead of this bloated Valhalla.
I agree, though. As a person who doesn't like major story-driven games and, you know, single file, this is essentially what you must follow to play this game. Actually, also speaking of Resident Evil, a lot of people are so happy with the length of Resident Evil. I remember when you told me last week how long it took you to play the game and you finished it. I was a bit like, I'm surprised people haven't been angry about how short of a game it is. But on the other side of the coin, like this week, I've actually seen like tons of people on Twitter saying, I'm happy how short, like, the length of Resident Evil. It's a good, decent-sized story game. And then I thought about Valhalla, where everyone said, this game goes for too long. I will not finish this game.
It's very daunting. Like, I've finished Valhalla, and it was an experience where I thought a few times during that game, I'm like, okay, I'm coming into the final act now, only to find out that I'm, like, halfway through the game now, or I'm 2/3 of the way through the game now, and it was a lot. Like my total runtime, I think, to completion was somewhere in the realm of 80-ish hours, I think, if I remember right. And you know, that's great, and it's money well invested. Like, and I love my time with the game, but that isn't, as you were saying, like it's not for everybody. Like it can be daunting, a bit overwhelming, where you can smash out RE Village in anywhere from. Well, someone I saw the other day finished the game in an hour and a half, which is absolutely fucking crazy. Like there's an achievement in the game to finish the game under 3 hours. So like you can see the types of runs you can do where it is just forward, grab only the essential items you have to, kill the essential things you need to, and, you know, kite your way around everything else to push. But I finished Village in, it was around 10-ish hours, but I know probably an hour or so that I could have easily cut out because I was just running around completing areas or looking for ways into certain parts. So yeah, there's there's different experiences and different amounts of time to these games. Doesn't make either of the games better or worse, but I think it just depends on what time you've got available and what you're looking for.
So I could understand where Ubisoft would be wanting to reevaluate how they churn out AAA games. Like, the amount of time and investment on making these games, would you be focusing on making an extensively long video game story narrative, or would they actually want to start taking a step back and saying, hey, is there a way that we can make these games completely accessible and maybe give people a fulfilling end?
Yeah, which is interesting. Like, if they do go down this free-to-play route where it becomes games as a service and maybe you're just buying future DLCs, you know, you get the base game for free and then with every new expansion you pay, I don't know, 20, 30, whatever it is, you know, whatever sum of money to get access to that new content or that new area or those new characters or whatever they're going to do. Like, it makes sense, and it's more palatable for gamers too. And, you know, like, money's tough for everybody, and having to pony up $100+ for the big experience where maybe you can get the baseline game and then just buy these little kernels for $20-$30 at a time and just chip away at them over time and get your experience that way. Maybe that is a bit of a smart strategy. Like, obviously they're going to be riddled with microtransactions and cosmetic purchases and stuff as well to try and get those little ticket clips, but maybe it is a smart way to sort of pivot and have two strategies going with Ubi moving forward.
To be fair, though, I think obviously Endgame of the Division kind of got boring after a while, but I know that when they announced that they were releasing new content, I was excited, but then I think that was, you had to pay for it. Like, it was content that had to be paid for.
Yep.
And I just, it didn't appeal to me. So I think that's when I officially just like let go of the Division too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the tough part for these devs is, you know, there isn't one solution, I guess, outside of just saying, you know, this is the only way to buy this game, and you get it all in full now, all future content's available at this purchase. But outside of that, like, everything costs money, and then it can be jarring. And yeah, you're like, well, you've lost me. I had a good time with this, but now you want me to pay $30-$40 for this DLC? I'm out. You know, like, where's the walking of the plank occur where you're just like, no, I'm done. I'm out of here. So, yeah. But anyway, it's interesting, and it's cool that they're still trying to find that secret source and work out what's happening. When are we going to get you know, future announcements on some of their other games? Who knows? But they've got a very deep portfolio to draw down from, and yeah, we'll see what happens with this free-to-play pivot that Ubi are starting to work on too. Some other great news, I think, especially here for any gamers in Australia. Disco Elysium's Australian ban has been overturned. The Australian Classification Review Board has reversed the ban on Disco Elysium The Final Cut after developer ZA/UM formally challenged the decision. It seems the tipping point for the game's ban stemmed from Disco Elysium's depiction of drug use and the temporary benefits it offers your character. However, as reported by Kotaku, the review board, which is separate to the classification board that originally refused to classify the game, has specifically made clear that Disco Elysium's depiction of drug use is shown in an ultimately negative light, such that it can now receive an R18 classification. And here comes a quote. In the review board's opinion, while drug use linked to incentives and reviews cannot be accommodated at R18+, this game does provide disincentives related to drug-taking behavior to the point where regular drug use leads to negative consequences for the player's progression in the game. It was specifically the disincentives for drug use that influenced the review board in making their decision. Drug use is not explicitly depicted within the game, end quote. So this classification means that Disco Elysium The Final Cut can now be sold in Australia without impediment, although the R18 rating means that only adults can purchase the game, obviously. Despite the refused classification, The Final Cut and the original unclassified version of Disco Elysium was still available to buy on Steam in Australia while the game was technically banned. So great news for ZAUM to get this overturned, and great news for the Australian gaming market where they can get a hold of what many call one of the best RPGs of the last decade. Like, everybody loves Disco Elysium, and I've been hankering to get in on it, but I wanted to buy a proper copy. So now I finally can. Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really proud of them to actually, you know, stick up for themselves and actually put their foot forward and say, like, no, this previous ban wasn't actually justified. Here's the reasons why. And then they were actually able to get it overturned and agreed with. I'm curious still, like these strong classifications and that the Australian review boards have. Like, I wonder how much that's going to still impact future games. There's still a lot of games out there with very questionable content. It's very curious to see what is allowed and what isn't. I guess the major one has been usually associated with drug use. I'm trying to remember the horror game that got banned, but then they took whatever out. Outlast? Was it Outlast?
Outlast 2, yeah. Outlast 2 got refused classification for a hot minute, and it's just weird. Like, it's so arse backwards, this board here, especially in Australia. Like, we can go to the movies and watch Spiral, the new Saw movie that's got apparently one of the most violent death scenes in the entire franchise's history. No issues. We can go watch movies depicting rape and abuse and sexual assault and drug use and all this kind of stuff. We can stream it at home. We can get it from a Blockbuster without issue. But it's like, oh, if you've got to press a button to actually make that happen, no, you're not trusted, even if it is R18. Like, it's so antiquated and so dumb. And I know we've talked about this ad nauseum over the last few years with some of these decisions, but it's just so dated and silly, and they need to grow up. I know that's a dumb way to describe it, but like...
Especially something based on the fact where they themselves need to look at gaming from a an adult perspective, that video games are no longer just a kid's thing. It is for adults.
Exactly.
And like you mentioned, we are able to literally get the same, maybe worse content on our TVs at home. And a child could access it too if they really wanted to, depending on the parent. And mind you, same thing goes for video games. I know that I played GTA when I wasn't allowed to. But, I mean, even Mortal Kombat I wasn't allowed to play. But, yeah.
Stop punching that guy in the nuts, Ali.
Yeah, that's what my parents had a problem with, not the, decapitation and all that sort of stuff. It was the nut shots.
Oh! I used to love that part where it would just, there was that one, like you'd drop down low with the Johnny Cage nut punch, and whoever the character was, they'd sort of grab their groin area and look at the camera and be like, oh, with the squished up like lemon face. Anyway, back to more serious discussion.
Yes.
So, it's just, classification board, review board, two entities controlling this stuff, gatekeeping video gaming, yet you can buy crazy novels from the bookstore that depict all this kind of shit. You don't get checked for ID buying a book. Yeah, streaming services, JB Hi-Fi. You can buy much worse, much more twisted content anywhere that gets sort of free passes constantly. But because this has got some form of interactive media association to it, it's like, oh, no, it's bad because it's going to plant these seeds that they're going to, start taking drugs now because look at the benefits of this game is showing. It's just like, oh my God.
I'm just going to call bullshit. I play Cooking Mama and I'm still not the best cook. So. That's the bullshit, Australia.
That's the best. Yeah. Just grow up. Wake up, you damn fools. All right, next bit of news. Discord is rebranding to shift away from gaming. Interesting. It doesn't have a new name, but Discord is effectively rebranding away from being an app dedicated to helping gamers communicate with one another during a tense online match. So this is some verbiage from Engadget. In a blog post published this past Tuesday, the company announced it's changing its focus to make its software into a place where anyone can find a community, create their own chat server, and talk to their friends, whether they're into gaming or not. Games are what brought many of you to the platform and will always be grateful for that, the company said. Today, many of you use Discord for day-to-day communication. You're sharing thoughts about books, music, and art, creating servers to just be yourself and share moments with friends, end quote. Practically speaking, what the branding means for current and more specifically new Discord users is, in quotes, streamlined onboarding experience and updated templates that make it easier to set up a server. Moving forward, there'll also be fewer jokes within the app referencing games to make sure everyone can take part in the fun. Moreover, Discord also claims user safety will be a major focus. We will continue to take decisive action against white supremacists, racists, and others who seek to use Discord for evil, the company said. Discord says it also fixed hundreds of bugs as well as increased voice and video capacity by 200%. This is great. I think people have been using Discord for things like this for a long time, and maybe they're just now making an official announcement. Like, it's a comm server that you can make a hub into whatever you like, but I guess because it did originate in the gaming world, they need to have that sort of line in the sand now where they're like, we're more than just gaming. And it's cool because it is a great hub and it's a great tool for communities to come together and talk about their passions.
It is, and it's actually been relatively useful. It's I'm trying to think now, like how we as groups used to communicate together communally before Discord, where like, you know, you'd have common interests, or maybe you were all fans of a streamer or a particular comedy group, gaming group, whatever. And now we can just all like congregate onto this, you know, their Discord channel. You can set up multiple things where you don't have to talk about that one specific topic. And they actually incorporated, is it live chat? Where like the streamer or whoever owns the channel, you can kind of have now almost like, I guess, like a Zoom meeting. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely thinking that maybe Discord saw how much people, just general people, were getting very used to online meeting, you know, communicating, and they're like, okay, we can see how we can be also front runners with this. We're gonna have to get rid of the whole gaming thing so it doesn't seem like we're very, you know, specific on who we reach out to. So then we are accessible to everyone and, you know, turn into a, you know, big player in the field essentially. Yeah,
I guess they want to, step out of just the gaming spotlight, and if they can eventually potentially go head to head with your Skypes or your Zooms and things where it could be seen as a platform for business. But then you could, have community-based hubs for said business on there. So it's smart. And obviously the company is valued very highly. When businesses are trying to buy Discord for $10 billion, it shows that they've got some potential here and they've got a good amount of market share that investors are wanting to try and get a piece of. So it's good to see. And I like that they've sort of had their little quote / mission statement where they're wanting to take decisive action against, you know, people using Discord for evil and all the other sort of categories that fall onto there. So that's going to be the biggest thing for this type of platform too, is it's all well and good giving this hub to make a community, but if people don't feel safe in that community or are feeling neglected or getting abused or whatever it might be, bullied, they need to be on that kind of stuff, you know, then and there as quick as they can and stomp that out, because you don't want that type of dark evil culture and sort of mentality to seep into these communities that they want to try and foster.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's great. Like I said, I appreciate Discord and honestly can't remember a time without it now. So it's just become like, you know, when we were kiddos, it was MSN Messenger. You know, that was like our little go-to hub. ICQ, Yahoo and stuff like that. This has become that hub. But it's awesome. It's awesome. You know, it's a forum, it's a chat hub, it's a video call. You can play games. You can do everything on there. Like, it's smart that they've got so much utility on that platform. It's a power to them. No.
And who eventually ends up buying them for some absurd amount of money. And the last bit of news, I think this one's a bit exciting for you, Miss Hart. Insomniac creative director Marcus Smith says there's nothing really stopping the studio from making a sequel to the Xbox exclusive Sunset Overdrive for PlayStation, and that he'd love to return to the series. Speaking of GQ, Smith was asked if it was possible to make a Sunset Overdrive now that the studio was owned by Sony, and he says, I mean, never say never is my approach, he replied. Obviously, we're part of Sony now, but we own the IP, so there's nothing really stopping us other than that we have a lot of really exciting things in our future. That idea is backed by the fact that Sony itself recently registered a trademark for Sunset Overdrive. While by no means a confirmation that the company will make a sequel, it does mean that it could. Smith, who directed Sunset Overdrive and is directing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, also made clear that he'd like to try his hand at a sequel. I think there are a lot of stories that can be told in that universe, and I would love to return to it. I had a lot of fun making that game, end quote. I know this game rated very, very highly for yourself. You adored your time in Sunset Overdrive.
Loved it.
And the thoughts
Loved
of
it.
getting a second go around at this as a PlayStation 5 exclusive, one would imagine, is exciting, yes?
Yeah. I mean, yes. Anyone saying Sunset Overdrive 2 is being made, I didn't care what console. They said if it was Switch exclusive, if they said it was Xbox exclusive, hell, if they said it was Stadia exclusive, I would get it. Like, I would not care. I loved Sunset Overdrive so much. It just really encompassed a lot of the things that I really enjoy in gaming, like just an open world, wacky styles. It was vibrant and colorful. The movement set was a lot of fun. I think the only thing it faltered on was probably endgame content, as well as having some issues on the multiplayer front. But overall, the universe is just so much fun. I just absolutely adored it, and I've just been sitting around twiddling my thumbs waiting for a number 2. So, that's bad wording on my part.
Waiting for a number 2 in your wet socks.
Oh god, that reminds me of a story my friend told me.
Oh no. Coming soon to Is This Thing On episode near you.
Yeah, will she tell it? We'll find out. But anyway, Sunset Overdrive 2, I'm excited. Anyone that hasn't played Sunset Overdrive, the original, I believe it's still a part of Game Pass if you're a Game Pass member, I believe.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to it. But give it a go. In some areas it feels dated. Like, I'm going to admit that. But if you just want like a fun kind of throwaway game where even the in-game audio was lots of fun, I think musically it was really good. There's a lot of things in regards to movement-wise that I usually find reminiscent to like skateboarding, like a lot of like what you would for like skateboard grinding and movement and kind of like transferring between lines and such. So yeah, it was lots of fun, fast-paced, lots of fun. Very cheeky. Bring on that number 2.
Yeah, bring on that number 2. And it's crazy the trajectory that Insomniac have been on. Like, this game was a Microsoft exclusive several years ago when it got announced and released with much critical acclaim, really well reviewed. Everyone really, really enjoyed their time with Sunset Overdrive. And then Insomniac obviously got acquired by Sony and have since gone on to make the Spider-Man games, and they're making Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Like, the star is shining very brightly in the sky for Insomniac these days, and rightfully so. And maybe down the line, maybe 5 years' time, we're going to get a Sunset Overdrive sequel, and it's probably going to be awesome and look stunning and be really fun to play.
What? No, I want it now.
Yeah, but I think they've got many Spider-Mans in the pipe that they're working on, as well as Ratchet and Clank, which drops next month, which, God, it looks so good. I cannot wait for that game next month. But yeah, kudos to Insomniac and the fact that they've addressed this and knowing that they own the IP, like whether they just had, like Microsoft had it for a time-based period or they bought the rights back. So they've got full control of the Sunset Overdrive destiny moving forward. But Miss Hart, let's move forward into this topic.
Tweet of the week.
This tweet comes to us via way of JJ from Row, and it was simply just a Duke appreciation post. The Duke appreciation post, hashtag RE Village, came with an assortment of high-res snapshots from the Capcom Survival Horror Classic, because there is a lot of unified love and support getting thrown towards the Duke this past week, as Resident Evil now has been out for 8 days, funnily enough, and everyone's big on the Duke. I was not big on the Duke when he was first highlighted in the trailers, but playing the game, I'm a fan. I like the big fella and what he brings to the game and some of the quips and the stories and the moments you have with him, and he's just the best.
I think he's great. Everyone was frothing over, how many foot tall woman, and I'm just like, but you got the Duke, man. Like, check out this guy's setup. Like, every time you run into him, he's just absolutely set. He's a man that knows, like, what's about and what to do. And, yeah, I like if I was to play this game, which we've all established, I'm still too, spooked out to actually try it. I would probably just hang out with the Duke if I could.
Yeah, he's great. You have some really good interactions with him, and everyone's still horny and rightfully so for Lady Dimitrescu, the 9'6" vampire. But the Duke's stature is a sight to behold as well. Like, obviously, he's a very, very large, round individual. Not, I'm not body shaming or fat shaming here by that statement, but he's also very tall. Like, he is very, very tall as well. I reckon he'd be over 7 foot himself. Like, anytime you deal with him, the way the camera shot, like it's framed, you're always looking up at him. So he's like this big behemoth, but he's a sweetheart and he helps you out. He cooks you mad meals. He upgrades your weapons. He buys the treasure-based corpse items that you find on enemies you kill. Like, he's a good fella and he's helping you out and he does some good things in the game and you have some good exchanges and he's wise to the plays. Like, we talked about this before we started recording. When you meet him around the village hub worlds, his little decor and aesthetic changes ever so slightly. And when he's in Castle Dimitrescu, he's actually got like strings of garlic around himself as little nod and homage to the old vampire lore of yesteryear, which I think's brilliant.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm still just glad there's some people out there showing the Duke some love, but like everyone's still frothing over the I don't want to say it the way people say it. I want to say like Dimitrescu.
Yeah, no, it's Dimitrescu is the there's no U. It's Lady Dimitrescu. Or Lady D, if you just want to shorten it, Lady D.
You know what? Lady D it is. Speaking of D, have you seen people modding the game so you have a fly swat so you can spank her arms?
Yeah, I have. And if I was playing on PC, that mod would probably be installed on my computer and I'd be smacking her around because she smacks me around quite a bit in that game with those big expendable claws that do massive damage.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised actually how quickly mods came out for that game. There was the Barney and Friends mod, and there was you can change Lady D's face to Mr. X.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
And if you want to go real nightmare fuel-y, you can turn Lady D or most of the other characters into Thomas the Tank Engines, and getting chased around by Thomas and friends does not look enjoyable at all. That would scare the bejesus out of me.
Shout out to the imagination of the mod community.
Yeah, but then, does the Duke just become the fat controller? Writes itself.
Oh.
But anyway, modder's going to mod, and there's another mod where they've converted the game into like third-person mode, so you can sort of get that traditional over-the-shoulder Resident Evil experience, which looks okay, but like the first person for Resident Evil, that's the way I want these games to all be for future. I'm all about the first person perspective through Village and 7 and more of that, please and thank you. I'm going to try Mercenaries mode this week too. Try that little mode and see how that goes.
Oh yeah. Actually, did you see that people got mad at finding out what Ethan looked like?
Yeah. Yep. Very, very disappointed, and because Ethan, he's just the everyman. They don't really show his face in the game, which is strange to me. But I get it because they want you to feel like you're firmly in his shoes. You are Ethan Winters.
That's true.
And stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's just weird that they have so much focus on all these other characters and you see them up close and their faces and stuff. But Ethan is always shot from behind, or he's out of focus and whatever. And I get it.
Or from hands. From hands,
yeah. Those poor hands. But anyway, yeah, listen to the Resident Evil spoiler cast in full and you can get our full juicy details, or go back to THG 240 and get another 30-minute deep dive where I just ranted about everything Resident Evil Village in non-spoiler fashion as well. But Miss Hart, I'm going to tell you about what's coming out this week. You ready?
Ready.
New releases and events.
Obviously, Monday the 17th would be the launch day of this episode of THG 241. But if you're coming back tomorrow on Tuesday the 18th, you're going to get the latest episode of Hoop Dreams. Wednesday the 19th, you're going to get another episode of Is This Thing On? Ko-fi podcast exclusive, starring yours truly and Miss Ali Hart, talking about all cool things related to superpowers and superhuman abilities and the moral compass that comes with those types of things. So get that in your ears for the low price of $5 AUD per month. Thursday the 20th. This is a game that we've sort of talked about here and there that was shown in a couple of indie showcases. The Wild at Heart comes out on Xbox, Xbox One, PC, Xbox Series X and S. Do you remember this sort of one? It's like a two kids fleeing hardship, traverse into this like hidden realm. There's magical creatures. It's got a really cool art style to it. I'm keen as a bean for it. It's done by Moonlight Kids. And yeah, I'm gonna give this a go because it's part of Game Pass dropping this week.
I'd love to say like with 100% confidence, yeah, I'll totally give this game a go. But I am so backlogged with games, it is not funny.
Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of talk about backlog and number twos and things this episode. I sense a theme.
Running theme. I'm apologizing in advance now.
Friday the 21st sees a heavy dose of new content dropping on streaming services. So Army of the Dead, the Zack Snyder zombie film, makes its way to Netflix, as well as season 7 of The 100. I really like The 100.
That's still going. I remember when you first told me all those years ago that you'd watched The 100, and I think you were even trying to sell me on it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good.
You rarely buy what I'm selling, I've realised on here, as far as viewing things. Like, it sounds good, but you just never get there.
Maybe. I'm trying to think the times where I've actually picked up on what you actually sold me.
Hannibal is one you did.
But you disappointed me, remember? The first season was great, second season was meh, and then I even didn't finish the third
But
season.
I think I told you that. I think I pre-warned you that it sort of goes downhill.
I don't think you did.
Sign of a good salesman then. See, I got the sale and I got out of there. No take-backsies. All right, Friday the 21st also sees Marvel's MODOK making its way to Disney+. So that's the next little animated hit with a completely different tone to most of the other Marvel stuff doing the rounds at the moment. It feels like it's almost like a maybe a less foul-languaged Harley Quinn that we're seeing at the moment. It seems like it's got a bit more of a comedic lean to it as opposed to the straight and narrow. Probably not going to get the same amount of curse words and violence that Harley Quinn does, but it looks fun. It looks quirky. It looks interesting.
It could be bleeped out. It is done by the same people who did Robot Chicken, I believe. And I mean, Patton Oswalt is playing MODOK, right?
Yeah. I love Patton Oswalt. He's such a treasure.
He is a treasure. So I'll just watch it for him alone.
Yeah. So yeah, a good chunk of that dropping this coming Friday. So MODOK, season 7 of The 100, if you're still invested in that show like I am, because it's great. And Army of the Dead, a nice, fun imagining on the traditional zombie story from Zack Snyder, who's coming out, and you see some of these quotes where they're like, Warner Brothers and DC are doing all they can to stop the Snyderverse from ever occurring. You know, they don't want the Zack Snyder universe. It's not happening. They're very against it, which is bizarre because the amount of praise that Justice League is getting, you think they go, you know what? We done fucked up. Let's give Zack another go and let's build out and highlight just how talented he is. But anyway, that brings to the end of. Sorry, Miss.
Sorry, I was going to say I haven't really been sold on it, so I'll have to wait.
On Army of the Dead, not even with Dave Bautista in it.
I love him, but something weird about this one. Like it's not selling me. I think it's the neon. Like it feels like a little bit like they're like, hey, Suicide Squad. I don't know.
But Suicide Squad has been confirmed to have an R rating, which is exciting. Which I'm keen for the film
version, yes.
And also in Dave Bautista related news, did you see he turned down being in the Fast and the Furious movies because he was too busy trying to pitch a Gears of War film to the studios? Go Dave, get it happening. Gears of War would be a fantastic franchise to translate to the big screen. Like it's Starship Troopers with more horror to it. Like it's not aliens, but it's got that sort of tone to it where it's machismo and bravado and big dudes with big guns and violence and gore and stuff. So give me that.
Yeah.
Give me that. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of THG 241. Anything you want to say before we close down the studio for another week?
No, I think I'm good for this week. I apologize to all our listeners for, I don't know why, but all the subtle poop references. I apologize. But if you've been listening long enough for this podcast, think you're kind of used to it by now, so it's on you.
Exactly, yeah. The feces flies regularly here in the discussions around the studio. Yeah, figuratively, of course. No one is throwing real poo around here because we are grown-ups. But 8-Bit Nation, thanks again for stopping on by. We'll see you next week for episode 241. No, 242, because this is 241. Much love.
Stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.
So much poo talk.
This is your reminder to restock on your Metamucil.
And remember, people, wipe front to back.